I'm gonna tell you how I bought it with no money down and how I almost blew it at the last minute. I bought this home with no money down. I'm gonna tell you how I bought it with no money down and how I almost blew it at the last minute. So I bought this home 23 years ago, raised my family in it, 6 children. I'd come to Reno, Nevada to go to work for a development company and needed a house, didn't have any money. And I was driving through my neighborhood and I saw that there was an unfinished house. This was it. But there were 12 other unfinished houses. Well, I did the research, and what had happened was a builder had built, maybe 100 houses here, and ultimately filed bankruptcy. And after a long bankruptcy hearing, the local bank that had made the construction loan took back 13 houses in foreclosure. And they were in various stages of construction. Some had a roof, some had no roof on them. Most were in the frame stage, some had drywall. And I decided I was gonna make a run at it. I didn't have any money, but don't worry about the money. Always find the deal first. If the deal's good, the money will follow. So I was taking that position. And I went to all the houses and wrote down what it would take to finish each house and how much it cost, what I could sell them for, and what it would cost for close, escrow, whatnot. My idea was I would go pitch the bank. If I got accepted by the bank, I'd then go to the company that I was working for and try and strike a deal. Say, hey, I've put this deal together, let's do it. As I put the numbers together and go to the bank, ultimately, the bank decided not to take my offer and to hire a general contractor under a contract and finish the 13 houses themselves. Well, at the last minute, I said to the bank, well, would you sell me one house? It's this one right here. It was the best one. At the end of a cul-de-sac in a great neighborhood to raise a family, and the bank said they would. We negotiated a price. It was $125,000. And I negotiated a long escrow and said to the bank, I need a long escrow. I'm going to fix the house up during that escrow period. The risk to the bank was I would be working on the house. I could get struck by lightning or abandon the project. The benefit is the house would have been improved or be in better condition at that point. So I pitched them on the idea that they give me a long enough escrow to do the rehab during escrow period. And they accepted the deal. Then I just needed the money to fix it up. My memory is it was about $40,000 to fix up the house. So I went to my employer, the company I was working for at the time, and I asked them to borrow $40,000 to fix up this house. The idea was I would fix up the house, refinance, pay off my employer the 40 grand they had loaned me, and close escrow on the $125,000 purchase. And the company I was working for agreed to the deal. So I had a deal. But then the bank called me up at the last minute and said that the local city had charged them some sort of fee. It was $2 grand. And that they were gonna pass that fee on to me. And this is where I almost blew it. I got mad. I had a deal, $125,000. We had a deal. And now you're coming to me and changing the deal? That's not a proper way to do business. And so I gave the guy a hard time. As a matter of fact, he told me, hey, you can't talk to me like that. Well, I did, and I was ticked off and I hung up on him. And the deal was dead because they were gonna charge me this extra $2,000. Well, I walked out of my office into another office, and sitting in there was one of my mentors. I had the benefit of having 5 or 6, I'd have to think about it right now, but 5 or 6 people that were real estate experts in different areas that were mentors to me. All of them 40 to 50 years older than me. They've all since passed away, but when I was in my 20s and 30s, they were a great resource for counsel and advice and sharing their experience. So I went into this gentleman's office and I told him what had just happened, and darn it, I lost the deal and they charging me an extra $2,000. And he looked at me and he is very stern, loving way said, you get back in that office, you get that bank on the phone, you call them up, you tell them you're sorry, you apologize, and you'll take that deal. He said, it's $2,000. You're gonna lose a home and an opportunity over $2,000. That $2,000 won't mean anything. You'll figure it out. And I took his advice. I kind of was a little shocked. I ran back in. I called the guy back up. Let me think of his name. Blake. I called him up and said, I apologize. I'm sorry I acted that way. I'll take the deal. I'll pay the extra $2,000. And I closed the deal. But I almost blew it. If I hadn't have done that deal, I wouldn't have been able to create the down payment. Ultimately, I had created the down payment or created the equity so I could get a loan. They sold me the house at $125, let me fix it up in a long escrow period. My company loaned me the money, and when it was done, I was able to refinance. The home was worth, by that period, maybe $200 or $205, and I only owed $127 plus $40, $167, and that created my equity to get into a home that has been wonderful. Now, 23 years later, I'm about to sell the home. My children, my youngest is a senior, about to move out. It has been a wonderful place, but that's the story of how I bought my home with no money down and I almost blew it.